long and have it not feel like it's been 10 years at all. It definitely feels like I'm just, I don't know, time has no real relevance after 2020 anyway, so I think I'm just like, yeah, whatever, cool, 10 years. I mean, there's like anxiety about some of it, but that's personal anxiety, you know? Like, the universe has tried to kill us multiple times. Can't do it.
I feel super lucky and honored to still be in this band and be in this band for 10 years. I think I've never met two people that I'm more creatively jived with so naturally and easily. Writing songs is just like bada boom, bada bing, and it's been being almost a decade older than these two. Like, I have a special place in my heart because I feel like we've all grown, but I feel like I've watched them grow up a lot, and that's really, like, I have some sense of pride in that. I don't know.
I feel really lucky to have been playing with these two for that long, and it makes sense. Like, I know mathematically it's been a decade, but it kind of boggles my mind to think that it's really been that much time.
Yeah, we've been through everything and more that I would ever want to be through with anybody, and then some.
Trusting each other, allowing each other to have the space to be angry, upset, you know, all those feelings that everyone experiences, but like allow the space for that to exist, and then you can come back to it and talk about it. You know, like there's nothing better than figuring out your communication and stride with people. And it's been 10 years of growing pains for us, so like at this point, I think we're pretty good at that. But that's a super important part of it, because I don't think I could have done 10 years with anybody if it weren't like having the ability to be your worst and knowing that your friends know you can still be your best, and trusting that is the most important thing.
I mean, I think a lot of it was just learning each other better over a period of time, and I think also going through a lot of hardships together and knowing that, I don't know, it's like the true definition of like commitment to one another, where like things can get really messy and bad, but you know you're gonna be there for each other and like have a rough conversation or an awkward conversation, but no, you're not gonna like leave one another, and that you're gonna find a way through it, which I can't say has been the case in like every relationship, personal or musical, that I've had outside of this. So it's something that's, I don't know, really special and tethers you together in a real way, I guess.
We started, our first ever tour was real quick after we started being a band. It was Laura's first tour ever. We had been on tour before with other bands, but our first ever tour was like out the gates, a big band took us out. We were playing like the Fillmore and like sold out like, you know, 1,500 to 2,000 cap rooms, and it was super, we were like, oh yeah, this is cool, this is what our band is, I guess, and then that was one of one. And although we've had really amazing tours since then, you know, and I don't even know how many times we've been on tour at this point. No. Yeah, the highest highs followed by the lowest lows, and I think that's really reflected in the music we write also. It's not all happy, a lot of it isn't, but there's a lot of like big dynamics.
One, getting to meet and play with people that were heroes of mine as a young person, like whether it's like John from Brainiac or like meeting folks from Unwound and Built to Spill, and there's a lot of bands that I idolized as a teenager, and being on some sort of peer level with them was kind of surreal and amazing. Yeah, we've had so many like amazing shows that I can't really like pin down like one that's special, but I feel like it's been peppered with like these like you said, like incredibly high highs and then
some of the
reality
weirdest
checks right after, you know?
Yeah.
A truly mixed bag.
all the amazing shows we played with, and like all the friendships we've made with these people that are so valuable and like important to us in our lives. The things I remember are me having like really bad personal luck, but also it like always ends up being like funny, so it's okay.
I mean, I think we're legitimate in the fact that like we're prolific and that we're still doing this and we're still making music. And you know, very once in a while, we'll have somebody be like, "You playing that band, WILD POWWERS?" And it's like, "Oh, you actually know it exists? That's cool." But yeah, we made a joke tonight about like going around to everyone at our show because it's gonna be mostly friends, and being like, "So, why don't you think we made it as a band? Or why do you think we didn't make it as a band? Why do you think we didn't make it? And
why do you think no one signed us?"
Yeah.
In what ways do you see that we failed?
Why do you think we all still have day jobs and will forever have day jobs? Yeah, so as far as like making it, I think we've made it in our hearts, and we've made it in our parents' hearts, and the fact that we are so prolific. But I think like we're not quitting our day jobs anytime soon, as cool as that would be.
I think it was maybe 5 or 6 years ago we were on this tour and we played San Antonio for the first time in probably 3 years at that point. I didn't think very many people would come to the show or like know our band, and like not that it's like a huge thing, but a handful of folks that saw us 3 years before showed up in our shirts from back then and were like hyped, and like that like was like a small taste of like, oh, okay, this is like outside of us in a bigger way than I realized sometimes. Like not that we're a big band, but it's like, oh, this does span more than I might think it does.
Also, on the rare occasion, I'll look out into the audience and see people singing our songs, singing along. I'm like, oh God. Like that is, I was like, oh, it does matter a little bit to some folks. That's sweet. People are really nice to us too. Like the people who come up and like tell us that we mean something to them. That's really sweet. Like the lady, our record label lady, Mandy. She's like, still cries every time she sees us play, and she's an amazing musician. And so I just like, yeah.
It's hard to fathom what will be happening in 10 years in many ways, but I don't see us not still doing this in whatever capacity we can at any given time. Like I think we've gotten better at being malleable about like what we can do at any given moment. So maybe if it's not doing 6-week tours like we did when we were younger, like still working on music and seeing each other and hanging out. Yeah, like we play in other bands, but then whenever we come back to this, it's such a special chemistry that like sometimes you forget when you're away from it for a little while that I can't see losing that, you know?
I mean, I still love our first record, but we wrote that, we recorded, I think, right after we wrote that record. Like Laura and I had been playing together for not that long at all. And then we're just like, let's just go in the studio, blah, blah, blah. And so that record's super fun, but it's really simple. And there's nothing wrong with simple, but the band definitely, I didn't feel like we were really Powers until we had JoJo, which was right after that. And then progressively, you know, we progressed as a band and became more dynamic, and I agree, this is also my favorite record we've done and has the most dynamics and is the most interesting. I think it has like some of the most complicated parts and also some really like simple parts that are more accessible to folks, maybe, I don't know. But I really love it.
The next 10 years, God, I imagine we're still going to be within each other's lives. We're still going to be creating music. We're all getting older. We're all having different shifts in our lives and our goals, but I don't see anything about what we're doing with each other changing in any huge capacity. Like, I still want to make music. I still want to record. I still want to do all that stuff. It's like my body's against me. I'm slowing down a little bit mentally. But I'm not dead yet. So.